Welcome to Lyric Lab Poetry. In this video, I thought it might be useful to explore some online poetry resources. And actually, I first started thinking about this a couple of years ago using social media, which of course can be great for seeing what's happening in the world and connecting with friends, but also it can, in my view, be very corrosive and a complete waste of time. And I thought, how better could I waste my time besides all those wonderful cat videos? So I started to type in searches for poetry content on social media, and then that also therefore would create these sort of algorithms that would then amplify that. And yes, I now get things popping up poetry related all the time, which is really useful because it's a better way for me as a poet to spend my time or waste my time, my downtime, if you like. There are lots of online resources besides social media, and I'm just looking at my laptop, which I'm going to grab here, and we're going to explore some of those together. So if you just let me grab my glasses, then I can see, and with a click of a button, you will be able to see what I'm looking at. So here we go. The first website you may be familiar with, it's called poets.org. It is run by the Academy of American Poets, and you can see here on the right-hand side, there are really useful ways of searching for poetry by poem or by poets. You can also use the Poem a Day series. There are literary seminars, lots of materials. It is a vast resource, really useful. Also audio files here. Let me scroll down a little and you can also see, here's Terence Hayes, a poet I've referenced previously in one of the Lyric Lab poetry videos. So lots and lots of content, a really excellent resource, which I highly recommend. Next one, which is my favorite, I think, by a long stretch. It is the Poetry Foundation website, which is just, again, vast. It's also the home of Poetry magazine, which, as you may know, was founded all the way back in 1912 by Harriet Monroe in Chicago. And what a brilliant time to found the magazine, because, of course, when was North of Boston? I was thinking of North of Boston by Robert Frost, was published around about 1914, I think. Also, you had seminal works by T.S. Eliot, Ezra Pound. So the inception, the beginnings of that modernist movement. And there's so much wonderful stuff on this site. Interviews, biographies. Let's just scroll down a bit because it's also worth looking at the featured poets section, and there's so much else on here besides biographies, audio content as well. And let's go into topics and themes. You can click onto that. Oh, no, before we do that, let me click on to Pride, because it's actually Pride Month right now as I record this video. And this is such a great kind of contemporary website because it really does speak to the zeitgeist, you know, where we are as a culture, as a society, and celebrating the richness and diversity of poetry. I really love the site. Now, the third one is you may have heard of, but it's not as famous as the first two I mentioned. It is the Poetry Archive. And as you see here, over 2,000 free poems, 500 poets' work, and 5 million visitors a year. The Poetry Archive really does represent a diverse range of voices, but it is a UK website. There are lots of UK-based and British authors, and this is a wonderful resource because, let me just type in the name of a poet I'm thinking of. Her name is Colette Bryce, a wonderful Irish poet. You get poets reading their work, and I love that. I love to read poetry on the page because I can take my time, I can go back to a word, to a line, I can take my time to meander and to consider in a way that I can't with that kind of temporal experience of a poetry reading. However, I can do both on this site, and what better to hear the work in the poet's own voice. I'm not going to click on because I don't know about the copyright, I don't know about the legality of that, but I'm just directing you to the site. Here's a wonderful poem, Car Wash. They all are. I mean, I also love the Poetry Bug, and it's lovely to hear the work in the poet's own voice. So check that out. So those are my three websites. Poetry resources online, poets.org, run by the Academy of American Poets. There is the Poetry Foundation, which is home to Poetry magazine, and then you've got this third one, the Poetry Archive, which has got lots of really wonderful international and British audio content. Now, I'm going to throw one more your way, which is a bit more unusual. It is a resource, but not quite in the same way as those other 3 websites. This is Yale University's Open Yale Courses, and I've actually taken this course. It's English 310, and when I say I've taken the course, I've literally followed the course online, because here's an outline of the syllabus, and it's Professor Langdon Hammer, who's brilliant, I have to say. And as the description outlines, the course covers the body of modern poetry and the beginnings of modernism and where that has led us to in poetry terms. It explores poets like Elizabeth Bishop, as you would expect, T.S. Eliot, Wallace Stevens, and many, many more besides, Langston Hughes and First World War poets, Marianne Moore. The list goes on and on. So this is a really good course, and you can follow the course by clicking into the different sessions. There are video sessions, different lectures. The introduction lecture followed immediately by Robert Frost, which is in 2 parts, then William Butler Yeats, and it really is a thorough kind of survey of modern poetry, so I highly recommend that. I will of course put links to all of those websites in the description below, but also I can read them out for you right now. The first one is poets.org, the second one is poetryfoundation.org, and the third one is poetryarchive.org. The Yale Open Yale Courses website I mentioned is at OYC, which stands for Open Yale Courses, .yale.edu, and then you can navigate from there, or you can continue /English/ENGL-310. Thank you so much for watching the video today. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please do click the like button and the subscribe button. You can of course support the channel in other ways, clicking on the Buy Me a Coffee link in the description below, and I'll be back soon of course with more poetry content. Thanks for watching.